Do-Rag Wisdom here, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Y2K 19.09.16. Think about this, folks. Try to get a seat on a jury if you are partial, either for the defendant or against the defendant. Are you going to be seated on that jury if either one of both sides has a good lawyer? See if a judge in a local courtroom, not a federal, not the Supreme Court, the federal, we'll talk about that, the local judge, see if they can get away with being partial. Justice is supposed to be blind. You're not supposed to be entering into any kind of a litigation, and you're either defending or prosecuting, or you're a judge. There's not supposed to be any partiality. Yet, the judges on the U.S. Supreme Court can be as partial as they wish. The judges of the Supreme Court are not directly picked by us. They are picked by whom the voters elected. So in a way you can say it was by us, but not so. It goes beyond that. These are three branches of our federal government now, folks. And I thought they were separate, co-equal, and yet one branch, the executive, is allowed to pick these justices. We vote in our Congress people, we vote in our presidents and everybody else. Why not our judges? I know there's all kinds of questions. Who are judges supposed to be owing their allegiance to, so to speak, if we vote them in? But then again, aren't they owing their allegiance to whoever appointed them? And if not, why are these right-wing slimeballs so monomaniacal about appointing judges that agree with them? If a president is a conservative, he or she will pick a conservative justice, or anybody conservative, or in the case of this crooked creep we have, he's picking other crooks and Nazis like himself. If a president is liberal, he may or she may pick justices of like mind. President Obama picked Merrick Garland to be our next Supreme Court justice. Imagine how that would be if that would have happened, and it should have. Merrick, like Obama, was a moderate. The fascist, racist, traitorous creep Mitch McConnell lied, broke the law, made up another law. And he just made up this law from the top of his pointy head. The pointy head. The sheath, you know, when he's wearing his sheath. And he denied President Obama his right, his lawful right to pick a justice. It has been the goal of the fascist religious extremists to pick and pack our courts with right-wing extremist fiends. And they're fiends who will have a lifetime appointment at the expense of at least this next generation, theirs, and maybe theirs beyond, to make their lives miserable too, with their antiquated, racist, religious extremist, backwards, draconian interpretation, fundamentalist interpretation of our Constitution, which is supposed to be a fluid document, an evolving document. We are an experiment in a democratic society. And we are still fragile enough to lose it. I feel bad when my generation is helped to curse. We've given the next generation, the generation after that, the curse of Kavanaugh. Because this thing that the right wing has been doing, they have succeeded. When Trump became our accidental president, a group of Nazis gathered to celebrate. I remember, it burns in my memory, especially as an American Jew. I don't deny my heritage or my ethnic group, just its religion, just all religion. Right there on my TV screen, I saw these pieces of garbage yelling, "Hail Trump," and raising their arms in the Hitler salute. Do you imagine how that made me feel personally? I knew we were in a lot of trouble when I saw the Heils. I remember history, I don't revise it. I knew that our entire way of life, to paraphrase that line from 7 Days in May, classic movie about the military industrial complex trying to take over our entire country, our country is teetering on top of the Washington Monument. Consider the rape of our planet, the building of concentration detention camps, the persecution of migrant children, including critically ill ones. I'd rather have 1 billion immigrants here, 1 billion migrants, than one scum of the earth, one whale feces at the bottom of the ocean, Donald John Nazi Trump Putin. Consider now that this country seems to be tolerating dictators. Consider the attacks on the free press and the murder of journalists. Khashoggi comes to mind. Consider also the Trump-inspired hate crime mass shootings. What is it? Are we sleeping? The people debating now, there's nothing to debate. We have a criminal Nazi in the White House, and we must get him out! And to judge all this carnage that's going on right now, all this horror, all the death agonies, all the broken families, the tragedies, the post-traumatic stress syndromes. Well, we'll all have a whole slew of kangaroo courts, judges to rule over this carnage, judges that a new Hitler would love. As the murderous Trump and his Trumpist party packs our courts, the Democrats running for the highest office in our land have said nothing, absolutely nothing about this. Now they understand, because look, climate change is probably one of the most important. Up there, number one, number two, because if we don't have a planet, we have nothing. After all, activists, extremists, fascist justices will go far in undermining every positive thing the Democrats will try to accomplish. These justices or injustices will join Nazi Trump in a serenade celebrating the burning of the USA and the rise of the Fourth Trump Reich. Meanwhile, the curse of rapist Kavanaugh continues, as Democrats are calling for impeaching this lowlife because he lied to Congress about some other sexual assaults. This character showed his penis, allegedly showed his penis to a woman he attended school with. And the FBI failed to investigate this matter fully. They were supposed to be doing this while he was being confirmed. So not all the FBI is great. There are some within there. There's a deep state within the FBI itself that probably supports Trump. Gorsuch and Kavanaugh do not belong on our court because they are partial, not impartial. And they are products of right-wing think tanks and organizations such as the Federalist Society and the Family. see Netflix documentary. I do not work for Netflix. They are part of a conspiracy, these justices, these injustices, by the religious right to rule most of our country, even though most of our country does not like the religious extremists. Think that we're in some kind of movie now, folks. If people can't understand anything else, think that we're in a movie right now. And whatever's happening now, it's like we are the victims. Most of us are three-dimensional. We have our flaws, but we're trying to do the right thing. But we're being invaded by these religious extremists, these right-wing Nazi creeps, these racist maggots. And they're led in our country by this villainous fiend. Look at him. Look at him. Look at that face that I have to, every time I see it, I want to punch my TV in. We have to fight this creep. Pretend like this is the movie. We got to rise up and fight. Get that music score running. Fight, fight, fight. I, for one, despise the religious extremists. You want to be religious, fine, but don't try to force it on me. And I will personally refuse to follow anything they try to force on me. And if we do have a hot civil war, I will make it my business to spit in the eye of every face, every eye of every extremist clergy person I can find. I don't care what religion they are. They're fundamentalist extremists, religious assholes. They are our enemies. Would you want to grow up in Saudi Arabia under this government that they have? Would you want a young woman to have to deal with that crap? And you know that the Trumpists want to bring that here to America. Not on my watch. This is a secular country. And I intend to fight if the religious extremists are intent on turning our land into a handmaid's tale. Goddess forbid, mother effers. All judges are allowed to sit on the bench should be impartial, no matter how high the court is. All judges seated on every bench should be directly elected by the people. All judges who are seated on every bench should follow codes of judicial conduct. All judges who are seated on the bench should never have a lifetime appointment. There must be term limits. I absolutely condemn the Trumpist Nazi Party for attempting to destroy our way of life using phony justices, two of whom, Gorsuch and Kavanaugh, should now and resoundingly be impeached. Democrats, where are you on this issue of packing our courts with trash? So far, all of these candidates have said absolutely nothing about this vital issue. Do nothing, and the Kavanaugh-Gorsuch curse will live on through future generations of our innocent youth.